Am I the idiot for asking my boyfriend to charge his family member for fraud? Backstory: I, female 27, and my boyfriend, male 34, have been together 5 years and have worked really hard to save for a house. 2 weeks ago we fell in love with a house and we put down an initial deposit to hold the property. The house won't be built until the end of 2022. We have been in talks with a mortgage broker and the builder's finance people. Last week we received some shocking news when my boyfriend's credit score came back as being bad. There was activity on the statement that was 100% not his and a credit card that has gone into default over the last 6 months. This credit card was originally my boyfriend's, but he swears he closed the account and cancelled the card mid-2019. Long story short, we discovered that a family member that was living with him a few years ago has gotten a hold of the card at some point and has been using the card on and off since 2019. They defaulted on payments in early 2020 but paid this off, then defaulted again in December of last year, and the account is still in default, and over $5,000 is owed in charges and late fees. Charges for shopping, news agency, takeaway food and pubs, gambling. My boyfriend has had zero knowledge of this as he hasn't had access to the account after he closed it, and hasn't been receiving statements or notices from the bank. The family member has diverted these to their address. We're now unable to successfully apply for a bank loan for our house as they won't lend to my boyfriend with his credit the way it is. Our options are to 1. Proceed with fraud investigations and charges in the family member, allowing us to prove this is of no fault of my boyfriend's and successfully secure the loan. Or 2. Boyfriend pays the debt, and we wait at least 2 years from the payoff date for his credit to regain some loss. Option 2 sets us back at least 3 years in starting a family and our lives as homeowners. This will also not allow my boyfriend to secure a bank loan to start up his own business he's been dreaming of starting for a few years. This was the year he planned on. This has devastated us and put a massive delay in our plans. My boyfriend doesn't like conflict and is going with option 2. He isn't even planning on mentioning anything to the family member. He wants it to all go away and thinks this family member is going through a rough time. I want my boyfriend to proceed with fraud charges and investigation. We have worked too hard to not have our dream house and him owning his own business. So am I the idiot for pushing my opinion on my boyfriend? Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. But is this really someone you want to build a life with, having this kind of baggage? He's willing to pay off a debt incurred by someone fraudulently, and not even address it with that person. What happens if this person does it again? He's already taught them there's no consequences if they spend money they don't have. And then it will be tied to you as well. You need to think long and hard about whether this is something you want to deal with long term. I do think it's odd he's willing to pay for it and not address it with the person that incurred the debt. Are you sure the person didn't have permission to keep using it as long as they paid the bill? Then the original poster responded with, I have had these exact thoughts and am still battling with myself on what decision I make going forward. Because I agree, I'm not willing to let this person potentially do this again, and it becomes my issue. My boyfriend swears to me he had no knowledge of this. He wouldn't have agreed to let this family member use the card as he knows this person isn't good with money. Comment 2. Been there, done that with a family member destroying my credit, stealing money out of my bank accounts, writing bad checks, stealing my engagement and wedding ring to pawn it. I had to pay to get out on the last day. He needs to report in order to fight with credit agencies and attempt to get these debts resolved. Also place a fraud alert and lock his credit reports so no one else can use his identity. Not the idiot. Then the original poster responded with, we have already put a lock on his credit so no more charges or inquiries can be added to his account. This person has also used my BF identity to apply for payday loans. The credit card account has been locked also, and the card has been frozen. I feel right now it's still really fresh. We've known each other for 2 days. I don't think my BF is thinking clearly. Because it's not just the credit card lowering his score, it's all the other inquiries that have been made too. He needs the fraud report evidence to fight the rest too. Now for the update. I want to begin by thanking everyone for their advice on my original post. There were some really constructive strategies and words of advice. I spoke with my boyfriend about my concerns and was honest with him that things he was telling me didn't all make sense. He was adamant he didn't know anything about the credit card or the apparent inquiries on his credit account about payday loans. My boyfriend is still refusing to open any fraud investigations against his family member and has said he will pay off the debt himself. But some other things came out during our conversation that he was hiding from me. Lying has been a big issue of his during our whole relationship. In the past I have forgiven him for his lies, but I can't keep forgiving the same issue every few months when he promises to change, but we're in the same spot every few months. And I'm not talking little lies, I'm talking big lies and even bigger lies to cover up those lies. I know I'm stupid for giving him the benefit of the doubt, so in saying this, my boyfriend is now my ex-boyfriend. When I spoke with my boyfriend about my concerns above, he ended up picking up his bag and walking out on me and drove away. That was the last time I saw him in person. This is how this man dealt with an issue in our 5-year relationship. We haven't spoken much since, but I have definitely resigned to the fact my relationship is over. I think he is expecting me to forgive him like all the previous times. I have packed up his stuff and will return to him after my city comes out of our 6th lockdown. There is a good ending to this story though. I spoke with my mortgage broker and the housing developers. I can't afford the original townhouse I fell in love with alone, but a smaller townhouse that I also loved came available and I've been approved for this one. I paid my deposit 3 days before my birthday last month. I bought a house by myself. Comment 1. Good for you. The problem with a liar is that they never quit. You constantly need to keep an eye on them like some kind of child. That's not what you want in a relationship. Comment 2. Honestly, this is the best outcome for you. He was a waste of space. Congratulations on the new home. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for insisting my brother's girlfriend proves she's pregnant, or she has to move out? My female brother, 24, has been on and off with his girlfriend, 27, for a couple of years now. It's been the same song and dance. They're happy for a few weeks, then something small happens, they argue. It gets really nasty, and they make up and go back to being a loving couple. When I learned my brother got kicked out of his apartment and needed a place to stay, I offered him the extra room in my apartment, and my brother agreed to pay rent, help with bills, and pitch in with food. For 3 months now, she's been announcing she's pregnant. She alone will eat a snack box with 50 small bags of chips in a week. I tried to reason with her and get her to cut back, not only from overeating, but she was running us low on food, but she insists she and the baby are healthy and it's just cravings, blah blah blah. Since last month, most of what my parents send to my house, my mom is a couponer, so she bulk shops and gives away what she has too much of. My brother's girlfriend is the first to get into it, and a large portion of it is gone by a few days to a week. From a 24 case of Monster, the energy drink if you're not familiar, 8 will be gone in a week from just her. She eats a hell of a lot of food too, most of which no pregnant woman should be consuming so much of, and yes, I know all pregnancies are different, but words can't explain how much she eats in one sitting. So, today I saw her drinking coffee, and after her 2nd cup I asked her if she should be drinking so much, and she said her doctor told her it was fine and she had no worries. When I suggested she take on a healthier diet for the baby, she just scoffed and walked out. I went and asked my brother if he's been to any of her doctor appointments, or even seen a positive pregnancy test, and he said he didn't. I confronted her about it, and she said she didn't have to prove anything and started to get defensive. I told her she needed to show a test or some proof of going to the doctor, or she needs to move out as she doesn't help at all. My brother started defending her and changed his answer from not seeing any proof to seeing her pregnancy test. My parents got word of what I said, and my mom says I was in no place to say anything, and every woman's body is different, and I wouldn't know since I've never been pregnant. Am I the idiot? Edit. I did talk to her a while ago about getting a job as well as helping out financially, and she said she'd start, and never has. Right, so based on the majority of the comments I overstepped, yes, but I'm going to go with my gut on this one, and give them their 30 days notice and call it a day. I'll for sure update you guys in a month, when they're to be gone, and let you all, who's interested, know what's happened by then. I keep repeating myself. Let me add that my brother knows everything I've said, the excessive caffeine, no ultrasound, etc. Yes, my brother still buys her tampons monthly, and I know this because he goes with me when I buy mine. No, I was not faking concern by the coffee comment. She drinks 2 cups of coffee a day along with a Monster that's a ton of caffeine. Now for a few comments before the update. Kinda not the idiot. Asking for proof is extreme, but she's also eating you out of house and home. Even if she is actually pregnant, she probably needs to find a place of her own and get herself her own food. Do you really want a family of 3 living with you, when the mom and dad have a shitshow of a relationship? Spoiler alert, you do not. Then the original poster responded with, "Yeah, I see I was wrong for that. He said he only needed a few months to get back on their feet, and he'd get his own place again, so I wasn't worried about them still living with me in the future." Comment 2. Not the idiot, and if your mother is so concerned, maybe she should house your brother and his girlfriend. Now for the update. Okay, so I gave my brother and his girlfriend 30 days notice, and they were to leave this Friday, but as of last Friday, I have my place to myself again. Basically, they fed me a bunch of lies since I gave them the 30 days notice. First, it was, she can't get an appointment or an ultrasound because of all of the COVID patients. Then, my brother's GF showed me a sonogram picture from her phone that I later found on Google Images. I asked why it was on her phone, and she said it was emailed to her after her doctor's appointment, that she couldn't get. Then my brother brought home baby clothes last week, to sell the lie I guess? But they weren't clothes for a newborn, it was a lot of 9 to 12 mo and 2T. When I asked him why none were proper clothes for newborns, he said, so he can grow into them. Was told she was pregnant with a girl. I didn't bother to ask any more questions because I knew it was going to be lies on top of lies. Then Friday, I got home to them arguing and at each other's throats. Eventually I called the cops because they weren't letting up. At this point they both had come clean with the truth. Brothers, truth. His GF is the reason he was kicked out of his place. Then she needed a place to stay because her parents kicked her out, so she forced him to let her stay in my house by faking being pregnant. He said after the first month he knew she wasn't pregnant because she got her period, but she forced him to keep up the lie, so I'd let her stay. GF's, truth. Brother invited her to stay at my place, and to make sure I wouldn't say no he told her to fake a pregnancy and I'd be sympathetic. Won't go into detail, but I'm 100% certain that part she said was true, and I wouldn't question her using tampons as he'll make up a lie for her. She said he told her to eat up all of the food because it'll make it all seem legit. So, that's about all. I'm still unsure of who's telling the truth, but they both got all of their belongings and went their own way, I assume, so it's not my problem anymore. Comment 1. Great update. Glad you followed your feeling, you don't need the drama. It could have backfired, luckily it didn't. Comment 2. Thanks for the update, and obviously the trash took itself out now, and you have your home back and you know either of them can ever be trusted. Comment 3. Yep, when I saw that she drank energy drinks while pregnant, I knew she was lying. I'm currently pregnant and never in my life would I drink energy drinks to harm my baby. I'm glad you got the truth out of them and the trash took itself out. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.